Hello, and welcome to episode 103 of WrestleRotica, the podcast that combines wrestling with erotica. This week we have 3 stories to share with you. The first story is entitled Twin Magic. The Bella twins come across R-Truth, who seems to be quite sad. They quickly invite him back to their bus in order to cheer him up. The second story is entitled WWE Divas Gone Wild. Trish Stratus is extremely nervous that her love Christian will be traded to SmackDown during the draft. Prior to Raw, she is laying in the ring thinking about her situation when Tori Wilson joins her. Tori challenges her to a match to distract her, and Trish accepts it. The third and final story is entitled Molly Holly Gets Rowdy. Molly Holly can't figure out what it is about K-Quick, but she knows that something about him seems so forbidden. She decides to seek out this mystery and quickly meets up with K-Quick after one of his matches. Without further ado, let's get to this week's stories. This story is entitled Twin Magic, and it was written by WWE TNA XXX. The Bella twins were in a good mood, seeing that they had just defeated Eve and Kelly Kelly for the second week in a row. They were walking to their bus, Nikki wearing a tight black shirt and a white miniskirt, and Brie wearing a tight white shirt and a black miniskirt, when they noticed R-Truth sitting in a chair, with his head down and his shoulders humped. "Hey, Truth! What's up?" says Nikki, mimicking the catchphrase of the WWE superstar. "Oh, hey, Nikki." "Hey, Brie." R-Truth says, "I'm just down because Vince won't give me a title shot." "What?" says Brie. "You are like one of the best wrestlers we know. And one of the hottest." Brie gives R-Truth a sexy wink, and Nikki licked her lips. "Tell you what, Truth. How about we take you to our bus and we cheer you up?" Nikki says in a sexy voice. "Oh, Nikki, that's a great idea," squeals Brie. "Well, okay, ladies." Truth began, but he was cut off when each of the twins grabbed one of his hands and pulled him toward their bus. It was a coach bus with 4 beds, a kitchen, a bathroom, and a living room. The Bellas led Truth into the bus, and then they both tell him to sit on one of the beds. Truth obeys. Nikki and Brie strip down simultaneously, both removing their tops to reveal 2 sets of identical, hot, C-cup breasts. Then they both bent over and pulled down their miniskirts to give the black superstar a look at 2 perfectly toned asses with shaved pussies. "Well, what do you think, Truth?" asked Brie. "Ladies, both of you are getting drilled tonight, and that's what's up," R-Truth said. The Bellas giggle and turn to face the superstar. They both then get on their knees and crawl over to him. They both take off his baggy black pants and see his already hard 14-inch black cock. Brie took half of it in her mouth and then used one hand to stroke the other half. Nikki, meanwhile, was sucking on his balls, making loud sucking and slurping noises. "Damn, girls, that feels amazing," says R-Truth. "Oh!" they both moan in response. Soon Brie climbs on top of Truth, sits on his face, and tells him to start licking. Truth greedily laps his tongue into Brie's wet cunt. "Oh, yes, baby. That's the spot," Brie yells. Nikki, meanwhile, takes over for Brie and starts bobbing her head up and down Truth's shaft. "Oh!" Truth moans into Brie's cunt. After this, Brie climbs off Truth, and Nikki takes her place, and Truth resumes licking a basically identical pussy. "Oh, God, yes!" moans Nikki. Brie, meanwhile, has mounted Truth's member and is riding it reverse cowgirl. "Oh, yes! He is huge!" screams Brie. Truth loves every minute of it. He can taste the sweet juices Nikki's cunt and can feel Brie's pussy squeezing him, and he completely fills her snatch with his black cock. Soon Brie yells, "I'm coming!" Truth feels her cum flow over his shaft and nearly explodes himself. But then Nikki and Brie both climb off and Truth sits up to see Nikki, on all fours licking her sister, who is on the floor of the bus, clean. "Oh, yes, Nikki! That's fantastic!" Brie moans. Truth sees Nikki's ass sticking straight up in the air, begging to be fucked. So he goes behind the hot diva and slides his cock into her waiting asshole. "Oh, fuck yeah! Drill my ass!" screams Nikki. Truth can tell that Nikki's ass is even tighter than Brie's pussy. Soon he is thrusting in and out as fast as he can. Truth feels like he is about to blow his load when Nikki screams, "I'm coming!" Truth feels her body shake and he pulls out, leaving her to catch her breath. Brie meanwhile comes over and quickly licks her sister clean. "Oh yes, sis! That is great!" moans Nikki. After watching the twins each other out for a while, Truth tells them to make him come. "With pleasure," says Brie in her sexiest voice. The Bellas crawl over to Truth and lick his cock up and down. Nikki then pulls Truth's cock between her breasts and tells him to fuck them. Truth obeys and slowly he is fucking her tits, while Brie sucks and squeezes his balls. Truth moans deeply, and it doesn't take long for him to come, all over Nikki's tits and mouth. Nikki scoops some off her tits and licks her fingers and says, "Tasty!" Brie then pulls her sister to her and kisses her. They feel each other's tongue and taste both Truth's cum, but also their own. Brie then licks her sister's tits clean, while Nikki licks R-Truth's cock until it is spotless. They all sit there for a while until Truth announces he has to leave. They all put on their clothes and the Bellas give him a quick kiss on each cheek before seeing him off. They then sit there and make out until they become horny enough. Then it's time to rock another superstar's world. The end. This story is entitled WWE Divas Gone Wild.
Girls Gone Wild travels year-round, coast to coast, meeting thousands of hot co-eds to find the cutest, sexiest girls in the country.
And it was written by Stunner Incorporated. It was Monday, March 15th, 2004, the day after WrestleMania, and 3 hours before Raw started. Trish Stratus walked to the ring, which had just been set up in her shiny red pants and tank top, which she usually wore to wrestle. She had the same outfit in many colors, but she thought that the red one was the sexiest. She laid down in the middle of the ring, looking up at the dark ceiling, thinking if the decision she made to take Christian's side over Chris Jericho's at WrestleMania was the right one.
You just made the list!
Trish was a little worried because a draft lottery was going to take place today, and she was not sure if she or her beloved Christian would be traded to SmackDown. While her mind was wondering, the two-time Playboy diva, Tori Wilson, walked into the ring wearing pink booty shorts and a tight pink tube top. "Hey Trish, what's going on?" "Nothing. Just thinking about the draft. I don't want to be traded." "Yeah, I know. Neither do I. How about we have a little warm-up match to take our minds off of it?" "Sure. What kind of match did you have in mind?" "The first person who taps out loses." "Okay, let's get started then, Tori." Before the match starts, the two divas take off their shoes because they decided that they would wrestle barefoot.
Oh, Michael, this is going to be fun to watch.
Trish and Tori exchange some fundamental wrestling holds, and Tori soon realizes that she has no chance of defeating Trish. When Trish tries to put her in an armbar, Tori quickly pulls Trish's top off and starts walking around, waving the tank top around as if there was an audience there.
Jesus!
During the first few minutes of the match, both girls have a thin layer of sweat coating their bodies, and it is noticeable that Trish is very excited because her nipples are rock hard and pushing through her red mesh bra. "Oh, you want bra and panties match now?" Trish says as she tackles Tori to the ground. Tori tries to wiggle away, but Trish grabs her pink tube top and rips it right off of her body. Before she can even react, Tori's pink shorts got pulled off as well. and she's lying on the mat in her white silk bra and thong. I guess I win, hon, Trish says as she turns around and starts to walk away. Tori runs up to Trish, grabs the back of her hair, and pulls her to the ground. She then straddles her face with her knees around Trish's arms so they can't move, and her ass directly on her face. Tori pulls her legs up and grabs the waistband of her red pants and slowly tugs them off.
Here we go!
I said that the first person who taps out loses, and neither of us have tapped out yet. Both divas stand up, and the match continues, with Tori in her white silk bra and thong, and Trish in her red mesh bra and thong. Trish soon gets Tori on the ground, lifts her legs, and drives her elbow into it, locking her leg up. Tori is squirming in pain, and does not want to lose just yet. She starts to pull at Trish's hair, but she won't let go of the hold. Tori then grabs the back of Trish's bra and unhooks it, pulling it off of her. Trish stands up, pulling Tori up with her, and slaps her across the face. Tori gets dazed for a little, and this is enough time for Trish to pull her bra off. Both these exquisite divas have D-cup breasts. Trish's are firm and she has big, dark nipples, whereas Tori's are a little bouncier and have tiny pink nips. They both stand face to face with their hard nipples pressed against each other. Tori smiles at Trish seductively. When I said first person to tap out loses, I meant to say the first one to tap or give up to an orgasm loses. Once Trish hears this, she does not hesitate. She grabs Tori from behind and tries to pull her thong off, but Tori backs Trish up to the turnbuckle. Trish can't get her thong down because Tori's ass is pressed tightly against her stomach. Trish reaches both her hands around Tori. Her left reaches up to Tori's tits, and her right goes down into the front of Tori's thongs. Trish smiles when she feels how wet her opponent's cunt has gotten. She slides 2 fingers inside of her and squeezes her breast tightly at the same time. Tori starts to moan softly. Trish's hand starts working her wetness faster and faster, and Tori starts to let out louder moans, which soon turn to screams. Just as Tori is reaching her orgasm, Trish asks, "So, do you give up?" Never is the scream she receives as Tori's knees start to buckle, and her pussy juice covers Trish's hand. Trish takes her hand out and places her fingers inside Tori's mouth so she can taste her own juice. Trish lets her go, and Tori stumbles to the ground. "I'm not through with you," Tori says as she slowly stands up. "It's going to take a hell of a bigger orgasm than that to make me tap out."
Oh, yeah!
Tori's thong is so wet that it's now see-through. She turns around and bends over, sliding the thong off her and showing Trish her tight ass and pussy at the same time. She throws the dripping thong at Trish and trips her. Tori sits down with her legs straight out and lies Trish down horizontally across her lap. She pulls her red thong off and then starts to spank her ass. She spanks each cheek and keeps spanking it harder and harder. Trish yelps each time the hand strikes her, and Tori can feel Trish's pussy getting wet. Tori picks her up and throws her to the turnbuckle. She picks each of Trish's legs up and drags them, and drapes them over the second rope, so that her pussy is spread out wide, and her clit can be seen. Tori starts to rub her fellow diva's clit, as she lets out a short gasp. Wetness is starting to drip out of her spread pussy, and Tori places her mouth up to her box. She starts to lick her pussy, then starts to eat her out furiously. When she finds her clit with her tongue, she sucks on it teasingly, and an orgasm washes over Trish's body as she starts gyrating on the turnbuckle. Tori rolls out of the ring and then back in with her gym bag in her hand. She opens up the bag, and there are a number of sex toys inside. Trish has now recovered, and both the chicks grab a bottle of baby oil. They start to squirt the oil on each other's bodies until almost every inch of them is shiny and slippery with the oil. They try grabbing each other, but they are too slippery, and neither of them can get a good grip. Trish goes into the bag and pulls out a huge dildo. Tori tries to run away, but Trish kicks her legs out from under her. She then places the pink dildo into her own mouth and kneels down, holding Tori's ankles and spreading her legs out wide and up in the air so that her pink box is facing her. Trish lowers her head with one end of the dildo still in her mouth. She inserts the other into Tori's gaping hole and starts bobbing her head up and down so that the dildo is slamming into Tori's hungry cunt. Oh, I'm not going to lose, Trish, she says as 2 orgasms fill her body. She knows that if a third one strikes, she is going to tap out for sure. Luckily, her bag is near her, and she sticks her hand in and pulls out handcuffs. She clamps the cuffs on the wrist of Trish and cuffs her to the ropes. She grabs another pair and cuffs her other wrist to the ropes. Tori is moaning loudly and breathing very hard as her tits bounce up and down with each gasp for air. It takes Tori a while to recover from her last powerful orgasm, but when she does, she looks through her bag and starts to laugh when she finds her double strap-on dildo. She puts it on and goes behind Trish in doggy-style position. She puts one of the tips of the black 10-inch dildo in Trish's small asshole and the other in her already soaking pussy. Oh my god! Trish screams as she tries to pull herself free to no use. Tori eases the dildo into Trish, very slowly, inch by inch, knowing that there's no way Trish can escape. Trish lets out a series of short, powerful gasps, and the dildo pushes into both of her holes. Once the dildos are fully in, she pulls them back out, and repeats her previous technique of inserting it inch by inch. Trish can barely breathe as Tori keeps making love to both her holes very slowly. Tori then decides to finish her. She pulls the dildos out almost immediately. She pulls the dildos almost completely out, then rams them back in with force. Oh, fuck! Trish screams as it echoes through the dark, empty arena. The dildos ram in and out of her furiously as she gets double penetrated. Tori rocks her hips faster and faster, humping the brains out of her fellow diva. Trish orgasms, shaking her whole body, but she doesn't give up. So Tori continues her assault on Trish's ass and cunt. Cum is dripping out of Trish's pussy, and Tori starts rubbing her own clit as she keeps working Trish. Once Tori brings herself to orgasm, she takes her hand away from her own cunt and starts to spank Trish's booty. As Trish gets her second orgasm from the double penetration. Oh, Tori! Fuck! Tori, sensing that Trish can't take much more, reaches her hands around her and grabs her huge breast. She squeezes her enormous tits and pounds her love holes at the same time. Trish's moans get very high-pitched as she screams Tori's names. Oh my god, Tori Wilson! Tori Wilson! Tori pinches both Trish's nipples tightly and thrusts both dildos in a few last times as Trish bursts into a huge orgasm. Trish starts to slap her hand on the mat saying, I give up! I give up! She collapses to the ground and Tori takes off the handcuffs. Both the hot divas lay on the mat breathing hard and looking into each other's eyes, with the smell of baby oil, sweat, and both their pussy juices covering the ring when Trish says, anytime you want a rematch, you know where to find me. The end. This story is entitled Molly Holly Gets Rowdy, and it was written by Dr. Blasphemy. Molly's eyes were transfixed on the match currently taking place on the small monitor in the Holly Cousins dressing room. On the screen was Kay Quick versus Jeff Hardy in singles competition, and they were pretty much evenly matched when it came to skill and risk-taking maneuvers, making it a great fight. But that wasn't what caught her attention. It was the very muscular, black Adonis in the ring. The more she saw him in action, the more enamored she became, which was strange for her since she grew up having a very racist upbringing. Aww. The Holly Cousins didn't display this behavior outside of their own circle, since they knew the second anyone in the WWF found out, they'd be all fired.
You're fired!
They would be crazy to want to leave a job where they'd get paid for beating the shit out of minorities whenever they got the chances. Molly continued to watch the action as her hand instinctively crept in between her legs. As her fingers touched her pussy through her damp black pants, she let out a soft whimper. She would have liked to voice it louder, but Crash and Hardcore were getting ready for the next match in the adjoining room. Her digits stroked across her sex as she fantasized how K-Quick's big black cock would pound in and out of it. "Come on, Molly, we're ready to roll," Bob commanded, scaring her back to reality. Molly quickly moved her hand away from her snatch, hoping her cousins didn't see what she was doing. The last thing she needed was to give that little jokester Crash any ammunition to poke fun at her. She quickly glanced back at the small monitor, which she completely forgot about, to see what happened in the match. From the replay, she saw how K-Quick was about to set up Jeff for his finisher, when that Bimbolita snuck up and did a Hurricane Rana off the top rope behind the ref's back to give his opponent a cheap win. Damn! Is that all that redheaded bitch has got?
Yes! Yes! Yes!
Molly thought to herself. Every match she does the same ass shit. I can't wait to get my hands on her to show her how a 240-pound super heavyweight gets the job done. Molly, move your fat ass! Hardcore called out again. We're up! Yeah, fat ass! Crash snickered. He didn't get away with the remark, though, as Bob quickly whipped him hard in the back of the head. I suddenly have to go pee. Molly lied. I'll catch up with you guys on the entrance ramp. Jesus! You hold less than a thimble. Forget her. It's time for us to go kick some ass. Later, fat ass. Ow! That actually hurt! Crash complained. Good. With that said, both cousins left for the ring, leaving Molly alone. She waited a few seconds to make sure they were long gone before she too went on her way to making her dream become a reality. She made a beeline straight to K-Quick's locker room and leaned against the cinder block wall of the arena waiting for him to arrive. After about a minute or so, K-Quick came walking down the corridor, rubbing his neck. Molly spotted him immediately and presumed it was from Lita's Ken Rana, catching him off guard. Tough break with the match, Molly remorselessly stated. It was 100% yours all the way. Thanks, was all the K-Quick could say as he opened the door to his locker room. If I was out there, I would have knocked Lita flat on her ass. I'm a super heavyweight, you know. Molly quickly interjected. All K-Quick could do was smile at the thought as he looked over the small, cute woman in front of him, flashing a large grin. But the one thing that really caught his attention about her was she had a big, fine ass for a white girl. You know, K-Quick, I could help you with that neck problem of yours. I've got quite a reputation for releasing tension from certain muscle groups. Sure, it couldn't hurt, he replied, holding the door open for her to enter. Molly made her way into the room and directed K-Quick to sit in a still folding chair. As he sat down, she began to knead his dark flesh with her petite but strong pale hands. Almost instantly, the pain in K-Quick's neck began to diminish from her touch. To him, her hands were like magic, which made him close his eyes to completely fall under her spell. As she worked her power over K-Quick's body, Molly slowly began to extend the perimeter of her hand's movement beyond his neck, going to his shoulders and then across his muscular chest. Molly grinned in satisfaction that K-Quick didn't start to protest from her advancement, making the Holly cousin become bolder with her actions. Slowly she glided to Ebony Wrestler's front all the time, keeping her fingers busy on his hot skin. Now that they were face to face, Molly began to take the biggest and final step by placing her fingertips on K-Quick's chest and proceeded to move them down, filling the hard rippled contours of his ribcage to his rock-hard abs. Only inches away from her prize, Molly quivered in excitement with what she might find there. She began to unwrap K-Quick's package by getting down on her knees in between his legs, unsnapping the button and unzipping his fly. Molly continued by inserting a hand inside to search for what was hidden inside, which took no time at all. A huge smile grew across her face from what she felt and pulled it out. What she saw was beyond her wildest dreams. K-Quick's semi-erect cock was as big as a hog's leg. His black beauty, at the moment, must have at least been in the double digits, and definitely thicker than her wrist. K-Quick stood up, letting his pants drop to the floor. Molly immediately heaved his monster up with both hands, and went on a mission to bring it to full attention by licking it up and down its shaft, coating it with her spit. She just had to know how big it could get. Within moments, K-Quick's stick became an unbending bar of hot flesh, with the bulbous knob pointing obscenely in front of Molly's cute face, with a dollop of pre-cum oozing from the tip. Molly lapped the watery liquid with a quick flick of her tongue, savoring the taste of what was yet to come. Grabbing the base of his cock with one hand, the Holly cousin opened her large mouth as wide as possible and inhaled the meat sickle, sliding it to the back of her throat. Her lips moved up and down its length in a slow, sensuous pace, like she was trying to suck the meat from the bone, while her hand busily stroked the what Molly's mouth couldn't handle, while the other one went up under her top to play with her tits. "Damn, baby! You sure can suck a mean dick! You're gonna make my bust my nut!" K-Quick stated. Molly smiled from the nasty compliment as she moved her attention down to his balls, licking the plum-sized orbs, giving K-Quick a chance to cool down for a while before returning to the thing she does best. The last thing she wanted was for this escapade to end too quickly, as her tongue wagged to and fro, juggling his jewels, and then up the underside of his prick, back to the tip. K-Quick then guided Molly onto her back, down onto the floor, while getting down to his knees. As she removed her top, revealing her full pert breast, he peeled away her black form-fitting pants. Now only Molly's soaking wet panties stood in the way. But the white fabric was so saturated with her juices that they looked transparent, giving an unobstructed view of her pink, engorged hole. K-Quick then placed his head in between Molly's milky white legs and blew a concentrated gust of air, causing a tickling sensation to course through her spine, making Molly giggle. He continued by licking her marinated undies, using one long, slow lap, pressing his tongue into her pussy, finishing the maneuver by sucking the material and large erect nubbing into his mouth, tasting her sweet nectar and gulping it down. Having a vacuumous lock on her clit, he then bent down, capturing the right protrusion, and began rolling it back and forth in between his teeth, while his roaming tongue pressed into the tip. Molly never felt anything like it, totally blowing her mind. "I can't take it anymore! Fuck me with the big cock of yours!" Molly demanded. "Do you love big black cocks?" K-Quick teased. "Yes!" she gushed. "Then say it." "I love big black cocks," she softly stated. "I didn't hear you." "I love big black cocks!" Molly confessed out loud. Satisfied with her response, K-Quick pulled off the last remaining garment from Molly's luscious body, truly exposing her salivating box. He then grabbed his monstrous prick, aimed the tip at her slot, rubbing it a few times across the groove of her love canal, and pushed. It was like trying to put a square peg into a round hole. The opening to Molly's cunt was so tight, it caused his cock to begin to fold back on itself. But K-Quick persisted, and the head slowly penetrated her. Molly grit her teeth at the feeling of her pussy being stretched beyond what it had ever been before. The pleasure easily outweighed the pain, but with only just the first inch or two inside her, she thought any more would split her in half. For just a second, she wished didn't let her libido control her actions as much as it did to get her into situations like this. That is until she felt the enjoyable motion of K-Quick's baby thrust. K-Quick started to gain ground with each stroke as Molly's vagina got used to the pounding. Inch by inch, more of his tool disappeared into the petite wrestler. She glazed down through teary eyes to watch the action and was amazed to see the progress he'd made. Molly couldn't believe he was almost balls deep. Oh my god! I feel like I'm being fucked by a baseball bat! Molly thought in shock. My pussy truly can't be able to take that much cock. Then, just like that, K-Quick was buried to the hilt, immediately causing Molly's body to contort uncontrollable in orgasm. Waves of pleasure shot through her, and she could feel an explosion of her juices being released from her body. But to her surprise, nothing appeared to be coming out. K-Quick's girth created a perfect seal, like a plug in a dike, forcing the liquid to collect in her belly. Still fully inside her, K-Quick placed Molly's legs up into her chest, pivoting her ass up into the air, pinning her with his weight, and started to brutally ram his cock into her like there was no tomorrow. With each in stroke, the Holly Cousins girl goo spurted from her cunt, landing on her chest, but she didn't care. All she wanted was to taste of pure bliss one more time. That's it, K-Quick! Tear my pussy up! Hurt me! Molly squealed in encouragement. But instead he did the exact opposite, and began to tease her again by completely pulling out of her, leaving a massive abyss of her nookie. As the hole slowly irised shut, he rammed it all the way in, just before it completely closed, making a loud squishy sounds. He repeated the process over and over, driving Molly crazy from the difference of having her pussy being full to empty to full again. Oh God! Please don't do this to me! Molly pleaded as her fingers vigorously rubbed against her clit, in hopes to getting off again. In response, K-Quick repositioned Molly, so that she rested on all fours, and returned to pounding her pussy as his hand squeezed her buttock. Spreading her ass cheeks apart, he then inserted each thumb into her anus. Her asshole was so tight, he was only able to get them in up to the first knuckle, and began to massage her rectal ring. Molly moaned as she let her muscles relax, letting the 2 digits penetrate even deeper. Now with his thumbs buried in, as deep as they could go, he started to pull it open, stretching her back door wide, giving him a great view of her insides. Then, in one swift motion, K-Quick pulled out of her pussy and rammed his cock deep into her pucker. Molly screamed as she felt her anal passage getting violated. Ah! For 5 minutes straight, he slammed her ass like an animal, pounding her body with all her being able to do was squeal like a pig from the friction. Even though her butthole seemed like it was on fire, Molly began to feel a strange tingling growing from her belly. It wasn't quite the same as the orgasm she had before, but just as pleasurable. With each of K-Quick's thrusts, caused it to double until finally, she couldn't take it anymore, releasing what she felt inside with a powerful, long, deep groan, which seemed to originate from deep recesses of her soul. While Molly bellowed from her first anal orgasm, her sphincter spasmed, down on K-Quick's prick like a vice, which was too much even for him. He thought about pulling out, but his dick had other plans. Spurt after spurt of his white, hot baby batter shat into Molly's keister, draining him of all his strength, causing K-Quick to collapse in exhaustion beside her. As their bodies lay prone from utter bliss, Molly immediately sat up at full attention. Oh shit! Molly voiced in realization. Bob and Crash's match must surely be over by now. I gotta go! Molly got to her feet, grabbing all of her clothes, and dressed as quickly as possible. Just as she hit the door, she blew a kiss with a wink and a smile, and left rubbing her raw backside all the way back to the Holly locker room. The end.
Feel the
Thank you for listening to episode 103 of WrestleRotica. We hope that you enjoyed this week's stories. If you enjoyed this week's stories, please be sure to like, review, and subscribe to us in iTunes. Visit us elsewhere online, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and as always, our official website, WrestleRoticaPod.com. Thank you and have a good week.